Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Doys and welcome back to Stoneblock 2. There was an Enderman that just got teleported briefly. Welcome back to Stoneblock 2. In the last episode, I believe we were working on a little bit of Thaumcraft and just some odds and ends around the base. Particularly, we were working on this monstrosity, which is taking the loot crates and opening them up and storing all the items we get. I have been working very hard on this, and yeah, I need to move some stuff around. Namely, we got to move this guy. We got to move the drawer controller because where it's at is awful. So I made a little bit of a space down here, and we can put it right here. And then we can, you know, pipe stuff in. I've got some cables lined up. I just wanted to show this real quick because that's going to allow me to access the entire area, most of this room if need be. And I'll probably put drawers up here because there's a lot of items we're getting. Now most of them are going to be kind of useless, but some of them, like these, are incredibly useful because, well, we need exactly 53 cow stalls for what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to clean this up and I'm going to continue working on this. I'll show it off hopefully next time and it'll be done by then. I've been working with some Thaumcraft stuff. We might do a little bit of Thaumcraft. I'm going to try not to today, but we're going to get to work on something that is a little bit long overdue. And yeah, we're going to go to the farm. We're not going to build. Not yet. Do we have anything good yet? I've been breeding these cows quite often. And no luck so far on getting the Molten Infinity cow. But yeah, we're not going to be building today. What we're going to be doing is dealing with this and getting the cows ready because, yeah, we're going to have 53 different cows and we're going to be storing all their liquids in a Applied Energistics system that is separate from the one that is our main one, except that we're going to do some complicated stuff and some fancy stuff, and we're going to be able to access all of this from our main system. Hopefully, if everything works out, if everything works out, then that's the plan. However, we need to set things up, and to do that, we're going to need a ton of fluid import buses, 53 of them to be exact, and I think we are going to use these fluid level emitters because it's either make the super large, which we can go to, what size is the maximum? 4,096,000. Okay, 40,96,000 fluid cells. So it's a lot. It's what, 4 million? And I think liquids are about 32 bytes. But I got confused because in here it says that this thing stores 256 buckets. No, 1,024 buckets. Not the other side. And it doesn't seem like it does. I have 15 buckets in there, and it's already 65, so 150 would be like 600. So maybe it does. I don't know. It stores a lot of stuff, and we're going to partition them. They can only store, each fluid storage cell can only store 5 different types, and we're going to just kind of have it so that there's a limit on how much it will store on each one. Just so that we don't have, you know, nothing but milk or water in a storage cell, and we can kind of get an even distribution of all of them. So we are going to go with the fluid level emitters and the fluid import buses. So I guess the first thing to do, and this episode is probably going to be a lot of cuts because, yeah, I have to build all this stuff. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually just make a crafting terminal. Just a normal crafting terminal. We need a crafting table. Alright. I thought that it knew how to make crafting tables. Apparently not. So, no, there's no patterns. Okay. That's fine. We will get some wood and we'll teach it how to make a crafting table. For whatever reason, it doesn't like using the stone ones. I think only certain things can use it, but whatever. We'll just go ahead and make the crafting terminal. So we're going to go ahead and get that done. and that shouldn't take too long. And what we're gonna do is we are going to put it right here. And so we're gonna need to get some cabling down, and this is going to be our crafting terminal over this direction. Now I'm also gonna have to run a cable all the way around to where we're gonna have what's eventually going to be the barn. And this is where things are going to get complicated, because I need to figure out how to place 53 of these guys in a way that not only kind of makes sense and is kind of organized. So imagine we have, you know, blocks here. We can put cobblestone, I guess, for right now. So this will be like the barn walls. You know, we can have stuff like this. But then, you know, do we do like a 3 wide? And we're gonna probably have to have more, and I'm gonna have to pay attention to channels, because we're gonna need 2 channels for each one. So this is gonna be kind of expensive to do, but why not? I kind of want to. So that is just kind of something to keep in mind. Now we're not gonna build the barn yet, and I don't even know if I've talked about this. That there's going to be a barn. That's where we're going to keep the cows. Attached to the barn is going to be a chicken coop, which is where we're going to keep the chickens. And so that is what this kind of area is going to be for. We might have like a greenhouse building for a lot of plants. And then I'll figure out something with not immersive engineering, mystical agriculture, if we want to do stuff with that. So yeah, we have a lot of things to kind of do, and I don't know if that area is actually going to be big enough. So we're going to get the crafting terminal, and I'm going to get kind of prepped for a lot of the stuff. So how this is going to work is we need one more. I always forget that it doesn't actually like take the block. It just attaches to the end of the cable. So this should be attached. We can see our inventory. Everything is great. So what we can do is fluid import buses and fluid level emitters we have crafted. One thing I noticed we don't have crafted is the storage cells. So let's go ahead and at least teach the system how to make these. And hopefully we're gonna need 11 of them, which is really unfortunate, because it doesn't matter what level of the fluid storage cells you have, they can only hold 5 different types of liquids. And so we're gonna need 2 ME drives regardless of what we do, because we need 11, exactly 11, because 53. So the one is going to be a little bit less, but we could probably use a smaller drive if we wanted, but I don't think that matters too much. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to get a little bit of prep done. So one thing to note, we're going to have to figure out a way to have this. I think this is going to be the most compact way to have these guys set up. So basically, if we have these guys on the floor, it's these 2 spots that are going to be where the Applied Energistics is, and we can do a lot of wiring underneath if we need to. In fact, I will probably dig out a little bit of a space and have kind of a basement for the barn. And worst case scenario, we can always make facades, and these would allow us to cover up any cabling if need be. I don't expect that to be the case, but we can put it underneath whatever we choose for the floor, which might actually be the hay blocks. We could actually have a straw facade and put that underneath these, so this block where you can kind of see just a little bit would be straw. That's something I'm not too terribly worried about. I can kind of show that off. Where is... I know I have a lot of hay blocks. Hay bales, whatever. And I don't have to go far. Do we have any cable anchors? we have one. I can never remember how to make cable anchors. Cutting tool, we have quartz, and we have a lot of iron. We'll go ahead and use iron. That's fine. So let's just make like 12 of these. And we can make some of these. And the basic idea is, you know, you can have this on, not that one, like so. And I think we can just break that. That works. Just trying to demonstrate something that you can remove things kind of easily. Let's just attach it. It doesn't really matter to here, and we can have that, and then place this, and then that will look a lot nicer. Whatever our like floor is going to be, and that's something we can add later, but it's not too important either way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start planning out where all of these 53 cow stalls are going to be, and get the wiring as good as I can, and then we'll come back and see what it looks like. Alright, so I've had to make the barn a decent size, and I will be honest, I'm a little worried about the space we have, but I can always dig out more area if need be. But I have gone ahead and I've taken this cable and I've transferred it over here for probably the most important thing, which is what we're going to do now. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Setting up all this stuff is going to be pretty tedious, repetitive. I'm going to need to get a, let's see, if we look at this guy, if we take this guy back over to our cell workbench, I'm going to basically need to have a bucket of every liquid that we're going to be using, so that I can put it in here and partition everything so that only those liquids go into that storage cell. And it's just going to be kind of repetitive. If I can get underneath the ceiling, it's going to be repetitive and kind of boring. I don't know if I'm going to get to it in this episode. It depends on how I feel and time and all that kind of stuff. But I will try to have it done by the next episode regardless. So first things first, let's go ahead and deconstruct this little temporary example setup. And it turns out some good things. So one, obviously I have 3 cow stalls left. They will go here. Unfortunately, just because of space restrictions, yeah, I've got to move the cows before I can get those in. Not a big deal. But I've decided to go with something like this, and I am aware there is a lot of empty space. However, if I wanted to do anything with, like, I considered putting, you know, pigs and sheep in here. The problem with that is that it would be kind of a maze with all of these cow stalls, and it just wouldn't look good. So we're just going to have cows only in the barn, and we probably will expand that direction and that direction. Probably not this direction, just to get more space in here. And I can always do more of these like little side rooms if I want to, but I probably won't do that. I think we'll have enough space for the chickens in this area. I'm just a little bit worried about like the shape of the barn and the coop, and we'll probably need to move these walls back a little bit just to make it look a little bit better. But that's not that big of a deal. We'll get to the building stuff later. I'm not really ready to do that yet. I don't really have the time or the patience to set aside to build right now. I want to get into, like, you know, technical stuff because it's kind of fun, and this is a very technical thing. So I've also dug out a basement, and this is where we're going to have the Applied Energistics system, and that is that cable that I was talking about. So that is really important, and I think what we're going to do is we're just going to have the controller like here, and actually let's pick up the controller. let's dig out this. We're going to put the point underneath it. We're going to put the controller on top. And that is still connected to main power. That is fine. We can fill that back in. And yeah, this is where things are going to get fun. So first thing I should probably do is move that. We don't actually need that light, but it's fine. Actually, we might want to put a torch down like there. So we're going to have our ME drives, and I could always go make another one, and I might actually do that. We're going to put them here. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. We can have the basement a little bit more central, so it's a little bit easier for me to access. Let's go ahead and do that as well. So let's get another ME drive. And I don't have those on AutoCraft? That is a little strange. So let's see. I think that should be something we should get. I also was making fences to see what kind of space we can work with. But let's go ahead and teach the system how to make one of those. And I actually don't have that. Okay, that's fine. So now we can tell the system to make me an ME drive. And the other thing that I'm going to want is another fluid terminal. So that is an ME terminal. That should be easy enough to make. And once those are done, is there anything else that's really bad? No, not really. A logic processor, but that's something we can get. So basically, here's what's going to happen. So luckily 53 is like 4 sets of 16. 16 times 4 is more than 53. So that is good because we're going to be using, where is my escape? We're going to be using the dense cables to do everything. So these guys have 32 channels. And we're probably going to be, color coding them. But basically, we're going to have to run a bunch of these dense cables from like here, this side, and this side. And out the back, we are going to have just a normal cable. And this is where things get interesting. So we're going to connect the ME drives. We're going to have 2, and just for the sake of symmetry, let's go ahead and put the other one on the other side. It doesn't matter. It actually does not matter one bit. And can we get another fluid terminal? We just need a logic processor. That is not too bad. That'll just take a second. But yeah, so I will kind of count out 16, and that's where one cable will go, and we'll have everything connected to that. Let's go for symmetry. Why not? So we're using 2 channels on this side, which is obvious. Now there's one thing that we're going to put there, and we're going to need 2 more things to make everything. So we put that in there, and the other thing I want to do is... Actually, let's not do this symmetrically because I want to attach a fluid terminal. I think that might be underneath. Let's dig this block and this block. I want to see where those are, so I know my spacing. Okay, that is probably gonna be fine. We'll deal with it with wiring, but I just want to be able to see the fluids down here, and we're going to make another fluid terminal just so that I can see them from the main system, and we'll get that set up in, well, now. So this is where things get complicated and kind of cool, but this is a very powerful system, and for right now we're just gonna put that right there. I think it doesn't have enough channels. Of course not. Okay, so let's redo this, put our interface terminal, and we'll just go ahead and put this guy down here. You know, right here. Nope, that doesn't work. Let's just get a cable like so and put that right there. So this is empty. There are absolutely, why does it say it's missing a channel? It shouldn't be. Okay, devices online. There is no liquids in here whatsoever, and I can't put liquids in here because that's not how this works. And hopefully I can get this right. But what we need is an interface, which we have, which is kind of nice. And we need a storage bus, which I don't know how to make automatically, but shouldn't be too bad to do. Storage bus. So it is an interface with 2 pistons, one of each type. Okay, so we can make the storage bus. Perfect. So before we do anything else, I just want to make sure this has only 2 channels, which makes sense. The 2 channels over at the farm currently are the storage for this, which there's a thing behind there, a storage bus, and the terminal we just put down. We're gonna have a few more channels over here. We're gonna have storage for chickens and the farm, but what we can do, and this is probably the most complicated system that exists in Applied Energistics, is called subnetworking. So we have our main network. That is this guy right here. I color code them if I have any. Let's see if we have any other color cables. We don't, but we can make some. So let's do that just for the sake of kind of clarity. Can we just make let's just do black? Cool. So we're gonna do some black cables, and this is just for demonstrations. There's an item lying over here. One second. Apparently. Or maybe not. Oh wait, there it is. There's a cable. Okay. So the color cables doesn't matter too much. They connect to they will connect to the fluix cables, no problem. That does not matter. This is literally just for show. So we're gonna have the black cable so I can differentiate. That is the main network. And what we can do is we can put an interface onto this network. Now this is a network. It has a controller, it has storage, all that kind of fun stuff, and we just put an interface. Now what happens if we put a storage bus on the interface and connect it to the main network? So this is going to be, we're going to have, I guess bidirectional is fine. But if we look at this, we still have water and milk. 5 buckets of milk, 10 buckets of water. And what we just did is called subnetworking. So if we fly all the way over here, and you know what, just for sake of brevity, I'm going to break those stairs. We have our fluid terminal to our main network. We should, do I need, that's what I was worried about. So there is something odd going on. So is there a storage bus for fluids? There is. Okay, so I need to switch that out. Not a big mistake, but basically normally you would use a storage bus, and that creates the subnetwork. We need to use a fluid storage bus, which is slightly different, but not that bad. We will be able to make that very quickly. We just make 2 pistons, make 1 sticky, and then we can do the fluid storage bus. If we have, I swore we had some interfaces. Oh, do we need a fluid interface? Yeah, so a fluid interface We might need another fluid interface. So let's go ahead and get that. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that that is actually needed. This is why I put the crafting terminal down here. It's going to make my life a lot easier. But normally, if you wanted to make a subnetwork not using fluids, you would use a storage bus and an interface. And what it does is you can basically tell that main system to treat this like a storage system. And so you use the channels like you normally would, and it acts like your other network is like this. And you can pull items from it or deposit items from it. We're going to be doing the same thing with fluids, so, you know, same kind of principles. It's just, rather than using items, we're using fluids. And we can store everything in here, and we don't have to have main storage. It's really useful for things like, well, for our purpose, the reason why we're using this is not so much the fluid storage, because we could just have you know, an IMI drive full of the fluid cells. Same thing over here. But for us, it's the channels. Because there's limitation on channels, rather than sending over, because we're going to need 104 channels over in this area just for this. That's a lot of channels, especially when max is 32 per side of a controller. That's a lot. And so instead of trying to pull all those channels from the main network, we just make another network here and connect it to the main network. And so theoretically, we just have to do one of these. Should be a fluid interface with a fluid storage bus on top, connected to the system. It will get its channel, and we're going to want it to be bidirectional. Shouldn't be anything else. Sometimes maybe you want to just pull things from it, so maybe we wanted to keep our storage over on the other side. We can have this be one directional, so it only extracts from this network. There's a lot of usage out of just this setup of a storage bus on top of an interface, or in our case, a fluid storage bus on top of a fluid interface, and that should have worked. So let's see if we can see on the main network all of these fluids. And the answer is yes, they're here. And I can add a bucket of water on the main network. And if we go over, which by the way, the main network doesn't have any fluid storage whatsoever, we can come over here and we can see that there is 11 buckets of water. We can then take it out and it will be the same on the other side. So what we just did is super useful for us, and really complex things you can do with it. It is probably one of the most powerful tools in Applied Energistics. Apart from just kind of in general, Applied Energistics is very powerful, but it can be very complicated. So it's a weird kind of interaction to think about. You're putting a storage bus on another network, but the interface allows for things to be transferred, in our case fluids. The storage bus allows for you to treat the block as a storage block. It's like putting a chest and putting an import and an export bus on it. In fact, I think you can do the same thing. But we could also, if we didn't want to have power underneath here, we could just put a one of these Certus quartz cables. One of the, what are they even called? Quartz fiber. We could put one of those on there and it would transfer the power, not items and not channels. So we could just have a quartz fiber right here and we don't have to worry about the energy. I don't really care. The flux plugs are cheap enough, or points, or whichever one. I can never remember. They're cheap enough, so I don't really care having another one. But this is a very powerful system, and it's going to allow us to use all four sides of this controller to use a lot of channels for this area. And that is all we're going to do with that today. I think because this episode has gone on along, I know it's been a little bit of a more talking episode, but I'm trying to explain why we're doing what we're doing and what its use is. So let's do some actual work for once in this series and we're going to do some quests. We're going to stay away from Thaumcraft. I do want to get back into Thaumcraft. We'll probably do like a little bit of Thaumcraft every episode. Just kind of unlocking the research and whatnot. But what we're going to do is we're going to finish up the firewall and the wireless stuff from Applied Energistics. So first things first, we're going to need a lot of stuff. We're going to need a 16K storage. Now, I don't even have those made yet. But we can make 4Ks, and we can do 3 of those. And then we're going to need 1 engineering processor, a terminal, and a calculation processor for that. For this, we're going to need a terminal, a wireless receiver, which we can go ahead and make some of this stuff. And let's go ahead and make some Fluix dust, and we'll get all of these quests done. So what we're kind of working on with these security terminals and whatnot is basically just a way to have wireless Applied Energistics. Now, I'm not usually a fan of using the wireless. I tend to not use it, especially in my base. And I never really bothered making the like high-powered terminals that have like infinite range and all that kind of stuff. It's just not something that it's not part of my playstyle. So we're gonna make this stuff. We're gonna complete this quest line, and then we're just gonna kind of forget about it. So that is crafting those. We're going to need, what did I say? An engineering processor, and then a calculation processor. And then we're going to need to pull those out so that we can get our terminals. So we're going to need, for this guy, just an ME terminal. We're going to need 2 ME terminals and a crafting terminal. Okay, so we should make, 3 terminals. And I don't remember what those actually cost. Nothing that we care about. So we can go ahead and make 3 terminals that will start working. And for the record, we could go ahead and do something else. Let's grab the 16K. I still have to make that, right? What's in the middle? Quartz glass. Let's make like 30 of that. And that shouldn't take too long. So once we have the 16K, what we can do, eventually we will teach the system how to make those and all that kind of fun stuff. But what I can do is go ahead and make a housing. Let's look that up. So if we make a storage housing, we can plug that in, complete the quest, and then pop it out. And we'll go ahead and make another one of those. I'll do that off camera, and replace the 1K storage cell. Actually, we'll just keep that in there. We'll throw that away at some point probably. But that was just a easy way. We had the item, might as well get the quest. We could also do the crafting storage. We just make one of these, and I realized it just used my calculation processor probably. No, I already had that. Never mind. So we should be able to make the ME chest, and then we should be able to make this guy, but we're gonna wait just a second for the crafting unit to be done so we can get that quest done too. Might as well. And then we can make the security terminal. So once again, we just combine those, and then, oh, I can't pop that out, can I? Oh yes, I can. It's a craft. I was like, I might have messed up, but there is the ME security terminal. So this thing, you connect it to your network, and you can do some things with it. Mostly setting up wireless. So basically, it allows you to kind of protect your network on a multiplayer server from other players to an extent, so that people can't access your items. And you need it to link the wireless terminals to your system specifically. Now, we're not going to be doing that, so I don't care too much. But we can go ahead and get the wireless terminals. So we're going to need to make this wireless receiver. So we're going to need a fiber. And we're also going to need a crafting terminal for the next step. But we should be able to make the wireless receiver. We're also going to need a dense energy cell. So we're going to need a bunch of these. Have I taught the system how to make that? No. So we're going to need 8 of these. So we're going to need a good bit of fluix dust. And we're going to need some calculation processors. So we can go ahead and do that. We're going to need just 1 calculation processor for this. And we're going to need another fluix pearl. So that is not too terrible. Can we turn these? Yeah, we can. And let's just go ahead and do that. So there is the fluix pearl for the next one, and we should have the crafting terminal. So all we need is this dense energy cell. So we just need 8 of these. So there we go. We can get the dense energy cell, which for the record, this acts as a battery. You can use it to charge your system. You have a bunch of energy cells, and the system will use that as like a backup battery over constant power. It's useful, but not if you have constant power. But wireless terminal, again, it's not linked or anything, but you use power. You link it with the security terminal, and it works wirelessly. And then we can turn that into a crafting terminal just by that. And that is all of that quest line. So I just wanted to complete that. I can speak. I just wanted to complete that just because I don't plan on using it. It's not my style of play, so I'm not going to, but it is a quest. Ooh, 2 drops of evil. That's nice. We got a 64K. That is 4 of them. Oof. That's really good. Some more draconic cores, and some ender chests. So let's do one more thing. We have the storage housing. Let's put that there. And crafting storage. Let's go ahead and do that as well. And I'm actually going to keep those. And that is 2 more quests. So an exchanging gadget, which we've got a bunch of those, and conversion kit. Cool. So yeah, this doesn't have anything in it, so we can just go ahead and do that. And now we have a ton of storage in our system. So with all that being said, I'm probably going to make some more IMEI drives. Eventually, we're going to set up this area a little bit nicer, have all the Applied Energistics stuff a little bit better situated, and have things look nicer in here. I have a lot of building that I need to do, but the main thing I'm going to work on between episodes is starting to get the cows in place. I don't know if I'm going to get all of them. Obviously, I don't have all of them yet. I'm still working on the Infinity cow, but I'm probably going to start getting most of them in, get a little bit of the whatever liquid they produce, and get that into the system, make all the 4K fluid storage cells that we need, and all that kind of fun stuff. Eventually we will need to make a 64K, but we'll get to that another time. I'm also going to kind of finish up cleaning up this, and hopefully this will be all sorted by the time next episode rolls around, and we can get a lot of work done. Like I said, we're going to start doing a little bit of Thaumcraft each episode, but not much, just enough to get through some research, and that's pretty much it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know it was a lot more talking than anything else, but we still did get some progress done. And we have a lot of stuff to do still, but we're getting there. So, that is going to be it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!